All right, what is the rule on these?
The line must equal 180.
Well, anytime we see a line, we know it's going to be 180. But for this specific thing, what is the rule?
Anytime the angle is half of measured arc.
The angle is half the arc. So if I want to do this first one at angle 1, it's going to be half of 128, which is 64. Then I can use the 64 angle 1 and figure out angle 2 is 180 minus that and get 116. Then I can take the 116 for angle 2 and multiply by 2 and get 232. What's the other way I could have done it?
Subtract 360.
I could have done 360 minus 128, figured out this was 232 over here,
Divided by 2.
then divide by 2 and get the 116. Both ways work the same, doesn't matter. Same kind of deal over here. I could take the 65, get times 2 right there, tell me ED is 130. And then depending on which way you want to do it, I could say 360 minus 130 is 230 there. 230 divided by 2 is 115 there. Or I could have done what?
65. 180 minus 65.
180 minus 65 tells me angle 1 is 115, then I can take the 115 and multiply by 2 to find the 230. All right, rule says it's going to be half of the arc that it makes plus the vertical one across. So in this case, half of 63 plus the 77. Type that in, get 70. On the second one, there's 2 ways of doing it. The first way would be able to figure out what that missing arc is.
Add them together.
If I add everything up, 122, 104, and 64,
290.
take that 290 and say 360 minus 290 tells me that part is 70.
Add
Then
those together.
type it in the formula, get 67. What's another way I could have done that?
64 plus 70, divided by 2.
But you have to find
No.
these somehow.
I'm saying without finding the 70, you could have done this problem.
Get the angles or one of the other ones.
It gives me the 102, or excuse me, 122 and the 104 already lined
And
up.
then you just,
I could have done the rule for this and figured out this is 113,
subtract
and then subtract 180 minus 113 to get the 67. Both ways are going to work. It doesn't matter which way. All right. Obviously, we had a little issues with these. The rule says this:
Subtract 180.
the angle is half of the first arc plus the second arc, the one that it makes and the one that's vertical. So here I would say 104 equals half of x plus 111 or 111 plus x. That doesn't matter. To work the equation, you would multiply both sides by 2. And when I multiply the left side by 2, it doubles. When I multiply 2 times 1/2, that becomes a 1. 1 times anything is that thing. Then subtract. You get 97. When I come to the second one, the problem is this 64 is not lined up with the x and the 128. So I need to do 180 minus 64 and get 116. It doesn't matter if you put it at the top or bottom angle right there. So 116 is equal to half of 128 plus x times 2. You get 232 equals 128 plus x minus the 128. And you get the 104. Now, the shortcut version is this. This angle inside is halfway in between the 2 arcs that you're talking about.
So you can just kind of multiply it by 2 and subtract 111.
Or, to me, a simpler version, how much higher or lower is the 1 arc towards the angle? 111 is 7 higher than 104. That means that's got to be 7 lower. 104 minus 7 is 97. Over here, if 116 is my angle, 128 is 12 higher.
116 minus 12.
116 minus 12 is going to give me the 104 I need down there. But that only works on these right here, where you've got the angle inside and you're looking for the arc on the outside. All right, this is the same rule as the last one. In this case, it's asking me to find the angle on the inside. Well, I know the angle
Oh,
is half of the first arc
this is what we've been doing.
plus the second arc. What I would probably do the first way is I'd say, well, the first arc, the one that it makes is 96. I need the vertical one across from it. Well, 100, 96, 94. How much is that? 290? 360 minus 290 tells me this part over here is 70. Plug that in. Get you eight. All right. So that to me is the first way I would look and see of doing this problem. There is a second way.
I
I just did it, just.
I can say, you
360
could say,
minus
well,
all that.
there's 100 and a 94 that are already lined up. That means that angle is going to be 97. 180 minus 97 is 83. It's, again, two different ways of getting to the same answer.
Or you can just do it.
All right, so angles outside, the rule says the angle is half of the big arc minus the little arc. Now, when I say big minus little, I'm only talking about the ones in between the angle lines. So that 118 over there is useless for this problem. It would be, in this case, half of 170 minus 72 because those are the big and the little in between the angle lines. So that would be 49.
That's what I got.
63.
All right,
I did two first, but then they said.
on this one,
30.
the first thing you've got to figure out is what is arc EA right there. Because if I don't have that, I can't use the formula. So in order to do that, I'm going to do the 112, 92, and 30.
Yeah.
Is that 234?
No, yes, and then, yes.
So then I need to subtract that
126.
and figure out that this part is 126. Now I have the two arcs that I need, the big and the little inside the angle. So I would say X is half of 126 minus 126 minus 30 should get 48. If I want to solve this one, you're going to start the same. The angle is half of the big arc minus the little arc. So the angle is 43.
Equals 1/2 X minus 30.
Half of the
X
big
minus.
minus the little. Wait, anytime I see an equation like this, I'm going to times 2.
Is X 120?
Yep.
Oh, yes, I got that part.
So then I would say 86, y'all, equals X minus 34. Make sure you have it as a minus so that you add it here. You get 120 for X. Well, in order to solve for Y, I would take that 120 I just found, the 100 that's there, and the 34, add those up.
You get 254.
254 subtracted from 360 tells me what Y is.
I get it.